Bloomberg reports China is still willing to reach a partial trade deal as long as no additional tariffs are imposed by the Trump administration. That could be a big if. But Chinese state media is toning down expectations. In the South China Morning Post reporting the delegation may end the trip in Washington short by a day. That wouldn't be the first time we've seen that happen. And Rick, I want to dive deeper into this because, as we know, talks are supposed to start tomorrow. Chinese Vice Premier Liu He is going to be in Washington. What are you expecting, though, right? Because we've seen both sides talking about doubling down on this idea of a short-term trade deal. What could that look like?
Nothing is what I expect. I mean, I really expect nothing. I just don't think anything is going to change here. You have to ask yourself, where might these reports that China is willing to do a mini deal, where might those be coming from? Mm-hmm. They might be leaked from the Chinese as part of their very negotiating strategy. President Trump has basically said he does not want a mini deal. I think Robert Lighthizer, the main guy negotiating for Trump, the U.S. Trade Representative, also said he does not want a mini deal. I mean, Lighthizer is serious about trying to force real reforms on China. Mm-hmm. So if the Chinese are saying we'd be happy to come to some sort of mini deal, that might be a way of putting pressure on Trump to do a little something that might forestall any additional tariffs. And remember, we do have further tariff increases out there. One set is supposed to go up on October 15th, that's next week, and then we have another set that's supposed to go into effect on December 15th. So more tariff hikes are coming unless something changes.
And if you're looking at this as a poker match between the United States and China, now China can put even more pressure. China can put more pressure on the U.S. because they know that President Trump is facing impeachment pressure. So now is the best time to get what they want. And from the beginning, they've made it very clear they want him to drop the tariffs. They are totally fine with doing a mini deal. And it looks like that's pretty much what they're going to do. If they don't get it, they'll leave early.
Well, what would a mini, I mean, you have to ask, what would a mini deal be? And I think once you start trying to answer that question, you realize it seems pretty implausible. So if what the Chinese mean by a mini deal is Trump has to dial back some of the tariffs, that seems unlikely to happen unless Trump gets major concessions. What if Trump just freezes the tariffs in place? Well, what does Trump get that he's going to be able to claim is a victory? I mean, you know, the sort of thing that's out there is he could get a restart of purchases of American agricultural products. Mm-hmm. But that still leaves everybody worse off. I mean, you know, behind where we started here. So Trump we know he's in this position where whatever he gets, he's going to claim it's great. Yeah. But, you know, the patriot farmers who are really getting screwed here are going to tell us whether it's great or not, and it's probably not going to be.
Either them or the market, and we have seen the market react positively, at least to those relative pauses in tariffs going into effect. But I don't know. I'd be curious to your take, because the way that this has been playing out leading up to this week has not really seemed like optimism is mounting when we talk about what the U.S. is doing.
The opposite, actually.
Yeah, I want to just highlight a little bit of that. The U.S. is restricting visas on Chinese officials tied to alleged abuses of Muslim minorities in the country, and that's a new tactic to really apply pressure to China that we haven't seen used before. Right. So if that is happening here, it's not just kind of the national security tactic that we've seen before, but now human rights abuses in China. That doesn't seem to me to be something when you're pulling two levers on the trade front that would necessarily signal optimism for a short-term trade deal.
Plus the timing. I mean, anybody who has studied China will tell you, if you're going to get a deal with China, there has to be a face-saving way out of the deal. I mean, this is a big deal with China. It's actually a big deal with most countries. I mean, you have to allow them to get out of a deal, if there is a deal, in a way that does not make it look like they're caving to pressure from a foreign power. Yep. China is never going to make a deal if it looks at home as if Xi Jinping is just kind of giving in to Donald Trump. They are never going to do that. And, you know, one of the criticisms of Trump is that by doing this, all of these negotiations so publicly, you know, declaring Xi an enemy of the United States and all the things he's done, he's left no wiggle room privately, which is how you often do these things. And not only just the visas that you mentioned, but also this week the United States added more Chinese companies to the so-called entity list that will not be able to buy products from American suppliers. I mean, this just goes on and on and on. And if it's all so public, this is, I think, the 14th time. This 14th set of negotiations between the two sides. We have had many rumors of a deal. We have had no deal at all. All we've had is escalation, and that's my best guess for where this is headed.
Well, Sibile, I mean, you mentioned kind of the mounting pressure that President Trump's facing. A piece of that right now is a slowdown in the manufacturing sector. A lot of people have argued that that is directly a result of the way that the president has pursued his tariff strategy. Hey, investors, Zack Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.